Hey guys, welcome to the Learn Python in one video. Thanks for coming here. If you enjoy the video, hit the like button, comment. If you have questions, comment, and subscribe too. So let's get started. I want to do this Learn Python video because in the future I want to do like AI stuff, web stuff, all sorts of things. And before you can run, you got to learn how to walk. So that's why we have this Learn Python video, so you can go over the general syntax of Python. Now, what are we doing here? So we are learning the syntax. You can think of like writing like AI stuff and like things on like Django as like writing essays or writing paragraphs. And you can think of the syntax as just basic grammar structure, basic like paragraphs and stuff, like learning the alphabet. So this is the alphabet of complex code right here that we're learning. So there's tons of help on it. I'm going to be honest with you. Like you can just like go on like the docs, and go on like W3 schools and just like read it. It's really quick. And don't memorize anything just because things are updated, things change. Understand the concepts. So that's it. Also, there's tons of help out there. So if you run into if you're like, what is a generator? Or if like something's like not working, you have an error, just go on Google. There's tons of help out there and tons of sites, developers, they run into stuff all the time. Things don't work. So just go and Google if you run into questions. Now, how should you set this up? So go on to the code and the link and download it so you can follow along. Import it into your text editor. If you don't know how to set up a text editor, I will also link a video in the description so that you can set that up. So once you have the code, it is time to start. So we're going to start off with variables. If you've taken algebra or any math class, like variables A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals this and stuff. And it's the same thing in Python and programming. We set X to 17 here, and then Y to this text here. It's called a string. And then if we run this here is called a function, and what it does is it prints out what's inside. So it prints X, this prints Y. And we'll get into functions eventually, we'll see it. Also, you can assign variables A, comma, this, B, comma, this, C, comma, this. And you can name variables anything you want. So now that we've gone over variables, we're going to go over data types, which is what you can set the variables to. So like you can set X equal to this, Y equal to this. We've seen like the numbers and then the text, the strings. Let's see what else we could set X to. So of course, I'm going to clear this out right here. I'm going to run that. So of course, we have these strings of text. It prints out A equals a string of text. And then this type here, this is another built-in function by Python, this type method. And it just tells you like the type of data type. So it says class string. So the string is that. And then we'll get into classes with objects. You'll understand. But just know that that's a string. You can also do the numbers, the numerics. B equals 4, C equals 3.5. Print out A and B and C. And then the type is, it says int, so integer. And then booleans are true or false. You print those out. And it says, where are we at? Class bool. See? Okay, we also have lists. You can do these brackets, and then you can add different data types in there. Right now it's all strings, but you can mix it up, And then this print F0 bracket 0. So F0 it refers to this item. With lists it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So it starts at 0. So when we say print F0, we're getting that. If we did print F1, we'd get that. If we did 2, we'd get that. And then with lists, you can also change each item in here. So F0, we're setting this to that. So instead of being list item 1, it's going to be 4. And then we're printing that out again, and it says 4 right here in the terminal. That's how you run it. Okay, a tuple is like a list, but it has these brackets instead of these ones, and then you can't change a tuple. You can't change it. So we can just G1, remember 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and whatever. G1 would refer to green, and it says green in the terminal when we ran it. Okay, a dictionary is so like refers to like key value, this, that. So you do it with like these angle brackets, H, and then print H address. Instead of doing like print G1 or whatever, G2, you refer to the key, and then it prints out the value. And then sets are another kind of like thing like this, you use these brackets for like sets. And in Python, like these, like they're all so similar, but you can Google it here, but like what it refers to is like there's ordered and then mutable. So ordered, like there's a specific order, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mutable means you can change it. So this is ordered and mutable. The tuple's not mutable, you can't change it. And then I forgot whether it's the set. I think the set is unordered. So so there's like no order to it. Oh, no order at all. Wow, I did those notes and I forgot them. Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention there. Okay, so there's no order to it, It's just like a random thing to throw stuff. Also, you've probably seen this stuff up here. I should have talked about this earlier. Let's go back to here. So you can do these things in Python called comments, because when you're writing code, you often share your code with other people, and other people have to be able to read your code. So you do things called comments, which are designated with this hash mark. So it's not run at all in the terminal. The computer doesn't read it. It sees it, just ignores it. And other people can read your code. So this is a single line comment with the hash, and then this 3 dots, down here, 3 dots, the stuff in the middle. That is a multi-line comment. Okay, let's go to comparisons and operators. Clear that again. And you can see we've run all of this stuff. You can do plus, minus, multiplication, division, and then this last one, it's called modulus. If you've taken any math courses as a kid, you remember remainders. So what's the remainder, And that's what this does. 2 divided by 3, it doesn't go into 3 at all, so you have a remainder of 2. Okay, you can also do comparisons. So less than or greater than, greater or equal to, less than equal to, and then everyone understands those, but these are kind of different. So 1 equals true, that prints out true. You're probably asking why, and it's referring to the type, the value. So this probably makes more sense than 1 equals true. 1 equals 1. Okay, so 1 equals 1, or it would be that. So 1 equals 1. Well, it seems true, and if you did it like this, it would print out true. However, they are a different data type. So this is a numeric, and this is a string. You can see they're different. So with this equals, it refers to the value. With this is, 1 is true, it's comparing the value and the data type. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Did that. Conditionals. Okay, conditionals. This is really helpful, these conditionals. Okay, so conditionals, x equals 1, y equals 2. And let's go, this is a mouthful, so I just want to show you, like, if x, colon, and then it indents it automatically. In Python, you don't have the parenthesis, like, if you've done other programming languages, you have, like, the things to, like, the little angle brackets. So, like, you can, like, keep things, like, nested under the thing. With Python, it's indentation, so you have to make sure your indentation's good. So, like, if you edit, like, this weird indentation, it wouldn't work correctly. So indentation's important. So the general framework is if this, do this, and then I'm going to delete that really quick. So if x is equal to y, print out that. Else if, so if this doesn't work, if this is false, move on to this and look at this. So if x is equal to y and x is less than 3, print out this. Okay, so if this and this are not true, you can do, like, you can mix it up. I'm just showing it doesn't have to be elif and elif or, it can be anything. So elif x is equal to y, or you can also do or x is less than 3. So if this or that is true, do this. So you can see and is both, or is one or the other. And then finally, so it'll go through all this. And then if none of these are correct, you go to the else statement. And this, like, executes if none of these are correct. So else, just print out like this, And then this, you've seen, I think this has been in, like, other of the things here. But this \n, it just means go to a new line. So go to a new line. That's what that means. And then loops are, so, like, it does it, like, a ton of different times, like, over and over and over. So a equals 10. So while a, which is 10, is less than 20, that's true. Print out, this is a different way of doing print statements. It's called an f string. So you can see we have this f in front, and then we have these brackets in here with a. So this allows you to insert this variable into the string. And then finally, a plus equals 1. That's a shorthand of writing a equals a plus 1. It's just a easier way to do that. Now, okay, so this is essential, because if you don't increment it and get it to 20, eventually it'll run forever and crash your computer, which you don't want to happen. Okay, another thing you can do with while statements is, this is very useful in programming, but you'll do, like, do this, run this, and if something happens, I want you to get out of the loop and do something else. And that's what this syntax is. It's like, do this, 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 this. But if, it's a nested if statement. If b is equal to 3, I want you to break out of the loop. So you end the thing. Another way to do loops is you can have lists, of course, we've done that before. So for number in numbers, print number. Now this number, it can be A, it can be B, it can be pretty much anything. I just chose to use the name number because it makes more sense. But the format is for each thing in the list you're referring to. So the list I'm referring to is numbers. This for each thing in numbers, print that out. So print each number in numbers. And you can see the colon and stuff, it's indented. That's how you do it. You can also do it not just with lists, but with strings. I can show you that really quickly. So for letter in letter, this string of text. Yeah. So it's doing that. You can also specify a certain number of times it'll do. So for num, and then this is a function, we'll get into it, like a built-in function. We'll get into it soon. So for each string, or not string, so for each number in the range of 0 to 4, or 0 to 3, because it starts at 0, so it's weird. But it prints out the numbers, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's if you want it to do a certain number of times. Okay, we've gone over functions a ton, so let's see what functions do. Let's get into functions, and we've seen some functions like print, those are built-in functions. But you can write your own functions, and the way to do that is you do def for define, and then the function name that you want to write. So I called it say hi. These parentheses, you'll see why in a second. The colon, of course, and then the indentation. So the function, let's run this really quick. Okay. So the function say hi when I, this is just defining the function. When we invoke the function, we call the function here. I just name the function in the brackets. It says hi, and then the reason we have these brackets here is you can add arguments. So defining this function, say hi to me, with the argument name in there. Print, remember the f string, print hi, and then name. We're adding that into there. So when we invoke the function right here, like we did up here, we call the function. We can put in an argument, the name. So the name I chose was Bill. So it's passing Bill into here, and then hi Bill. You can see that. Now, what happens if you want to print an infinite number of arguments? What happens if you want to sum up something, or add a ton of things together, multiply a ton of things together, and you don't know how many things are going to be put in? Well, you can do these things called args, And so this thing I defined as an args function, and you have this star and then nums. Okay, so nums is just going to be a list that we put in of different things. So remember the for loops that we did earlier? So for each num, it just refers to anything in there. It can be like X and Y thing. I chose to call it num. So for each num in nums, print the number. And then I passed in this huge list of numbers here. And then 1, 2, 3, it prints out the numbers when we call the function. Okay, keyword functions. What are keyword functions? So keyword, okay, so remember here I had the dictionary, so this refers to this refers to this, so key, value, key, value, key, value, key, value. So with keyword functions, it's kind of the same, or keyword args, it's kind of the same thing. So you do the double star instead of the single star for single things. So it's like key and value, Okay, yeah. So the function is print hi, and then remember the lists, again, we go back that to that. So we're getting the first name from the list. See, remember, like we could do first name there, last name there, and then it would refer to a different thing. So you get the first name, and then get the last name of the keyword args we're putting in. Okay, so when we call the function, I do first name equals John, and last name equals Smith. So it prints out hi John Smith. And then a lambda function, this is like a fancy function, you just do it in like one line. So lambda example is our function. This is the function, and equal to lambda, meaning it's a lambda function. These are the variables. This is the variable that's going to be used in here. That's where you define it. So I could do x, a, b, whatever in there. And then here, the colon is like variable, colon, and then this is what we do. So number plus 10, and then the number we pass into the function when we call it is 6. So 6 plus 10, 16, and those are functions. Okay, now we get to the dreaded objects. People I've talked to, and when I was first learning how to code back in high school, almost way over a decade ago. But I hated learning this stuff because it was taught to me wrong. They're always like, an object represents an object, and it can have this, that. No, an object is a folder. That's what it is. It's just a folder of different functions and different variables. That's what it is. So it's just a way to organize things, You'll hear like an don't listen to them. Just know it's just a folder that holds a bunch of different variables and functions, so you can do it easier. And I'm going to run this thing. So how do we create a object? Well, you do a class. This is the blueprint of the object. And then what do we do? This constructor, this is where we set the variables that we're going to use inside the object. So when you create an instance of a particular object, you'll pass in variables. And the constructor is where you do the variables. So we haven't talked about this yet, but a lot of times you'll do like x equals 6. And then inside another thing, you'll also do x equals 6, So is this a new variable, or is it referring to the same one as the outside? It can get confusing. Does this only refer to stuff in here, or does this refer to the outside stuff too? So for that reason, for scope, we have the constructor. So you run the init thing. This is the constructor function, define init, and you don't have to call this. It's called automatically when you instantiate the class. And you have self, which refers, you always have to pass in self, no matter what, it refers to the class. So self, you always have to pass that in, and then the variables you want to pass in. So with a dog, our folder of a dog, or a class of a dog, I want to give it a name, an age, or a breed, and then so we're referring to the stuff inside here, not outside, like I said before. So self.name, the stuff, the variable inside the function, it refers to this name. Self.age, inside the stuff, refers to age, and then self refers to breed. So when we create the thing with like that, we'll add them all into here. Those are our variables. Okay. You can also do a function inside your class. Now, a function inside a class, it has a special name. It's called a method. So we just went over functions, and then this is a function inside a class. It's called a method. Now, remember the indentation again. define say name, so self. So print my name is, and then self.name that we pass in at the beginning, that's it. So we have our blueprint, of the object. It's called a class. It's kind of like how you define a function. Now we have to, and with functions you call them, with objects you instantiate them. So a new instantiation of an object will call this dog Spot, and to create it, like we do the dog class, and I'm adding the name is going to be Spot, the age 11, and then the breed poodle. So print spot.age. So spot.age will be 11, because we instantiated it. You can see it says 11. Not print. And then we can run this method, spot.sayName. And it says self. What's its name? Oh, Spot. That's kind of obvious, And then inheritance. This is also cool. So what happens if you want a folder inside a folder, So it's you want to include all this stuff, but also add a bit to it. So we're inheriting this stuff. And how we do it is def init, it's the same and stuff. It's pretty much the exact same. The only difference is we have this thing called super in here, and we have this thing. So with the class, we have when you want to inherit stuff from a particular class. So plug is inheriting all the stuff, all the methods, all the variables from dog. That's how we do it. And then in the constructor, where you define all the variables, you have to call this super init, and then you get all the variables you want. So we're getting, with this line, super init, we're getting these variables. And that's how that works. And then you can see I also added self.face. That's a new thing. And there's a cute face. Yeah. So print pudge.name. Oh, and then we instantiate the object right there. It's going to be a pug with these variables. Print pudge.name. And is it ugly? Oh, is it ugly? Has a cute face. Yeah. Is it ugly? Okay, yeah, that's the function. Yeah, so hopefully that helped with understanding classes and objects. I remember I was really confused, but an object, like classes, it's just like a folder of different functions and variables. Okay, decorators. This is also very annoying, but it allows you to pass a function into a function. We've if we go to functions, we've seen this where we've passed variables into functions. We pass this variable into this function, and stuff. But we've never seen a function passed into a function. Okay, so with this, let's run this code really quick. Oh, also you see this, did it work? Oh, it just says hi. Okay, awesome. Yeah, you see this return thing. So often when you have a function, it won't actually print anything out. It'll pass a variable into another thing. So this return, it just means give this variable to this, that's what it means. So if we go back to the decorators, this decorator is meant to capitalize the stuff in here. So we have this function, say hi, return hi. That's what it's doing. It's giving that variable there. And then to do a decorator, you do this @ symbol, and then the name of the decorator. So we're passing this function into this function. And let's see what this function does. Define decorator, it's getting a function in. And then we have this, this is how you write decorators. We have this wrapper function that takes in the function, you know. So words equals function, you know. We're just setting it equal to this probably confuses you, but like function, so words is equal to, so it's returning this value. So we pass this function into here, okay? So it's returning high, so it's getting the high from the function. So words is equal to the output of this function, the return thing. So words would be high, and then it's already a string, but we made it a string again. I guess if we did like a number, you know, then you'd have to make it into a string. And then this is just the string method. This is just a built-in function. If you go to like the docs, like around here, you can see all the different built-in functions, you know. Okay, so decorators. So yeah, that's what it does. So it's the string again of the words, and then print words dot upper. And then you probably don't know this, but if remember when we went to the data types and for the types it says class, string, class, int, class, boolean. Well, when they were writing Python, the data types are just certain classes, you know. So we learned about the objects and stuff. So the data types, they all have their own methods. They all have like variables specific to them. So let's run this again. Hi. So yeah, so that's kind of cool. Like if you like knew. So this words dot upper, you know, words is is like the string, you know. We changed it into a string. So strings have different methods to it, and one method to strings is upper. So we're uppercasing it. So I hope that made sense with decorators. You're just passing one function into another function. Iterators. We've actually seen this before, iterators. We just haven't gone into it in detail. So like data types, remember the lists and sets and all this stuff? Well, they're all iterables, you know. There are certain data types that you can iterate over. So iterator, first, this is just a tuple. We've gone over that again. And then we've seen this for loop, you know. That's like a way you can do iterables. So for value in this, print the value, first, second, third. Okay, so another way to do this for loop is like, that's a fancy way, you know. It's like, so iterate. So returning with this iter method, or iter function, we turn this tuple into an iterable, which is like the same thing pretty much. It's pretty close. But and then the way to do that is print, and then like it's the same pretty much. But so we print this, and then like the iterate is like it's the thing. So we print like all of this, and then next means next. So print next, you know, and that's how we do the first, second, third. So that's a more bare bones way of doing that. Okay, a generator is a function that returns an iterator, you know. So this is kind of weird, you know. So a basic generator would be like n equals 1. So we've seen the return statement. The yield is a return for iterators. So you can see that this is pretty much like it. It's just a generator function. And then finally, this is probably the most important part, a list comprehension. Okay, so this is very useful. Sometimes you want to create lists out of like certain things, you know, like you'll run code and you're like, well, I want to put this, like I want to format this code, you know. So list comprehensions are very useful for that, because it's like, let's create this. So comprehension equals, we have our, remember this, our list. So that's it. And it's just, we're doing like a little thing in there. So 4 times n. So that's like what we're doing. 4 n. N is just like a number we made up in range of 3. So 4 times n in range of 3. So 0, 1, 2. So 0, 0, 2, or 1, 4, 2, 8. So that's what that's doing. And it goes back to, where did we do this? I think I showed you yeah, it goes back to like that. We're just kind of changing it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So we're going to get into error handling now. And when you do Python, you're going to run into errors, and you can go on Stack Overflow and just like Google it, and like see stuff. But sometimes, you want to do like it in here. So while true, try this out. And if it doesn't work, except, if there's an error, print out like this, So you can do like try and accept things, So that's just like to like if there's an error, do this. And it's different than, you might like think like, well, it's like an if-else thing. It's like sort of similar. However, this includes errors, like so if there's an error, do this. And there's different types of errors. So if we go to docs, let's see if they have error handling on here. Try accept. Finally, yeah, so like else, that runs no matter what. Name error, see there's name errors. There's different kinds of errors. So this, it's a value error that I did. But you can Google all the different ones. Yeah. Okay, file handling. You can also do files. We can work with files in JavaScript. And that's what this is. This is a file. This is the write command. And we wrote that out right here. So file equals open file. So you can open files. And then this R means read. I'm going to run this really quick. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's printing. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so file.txt read. So it's reading this file right now. For each, so each refers to each line in the file, and then that's how you open files. And then it's the same thing, but this means write, and then you write stuff in there with that. Also, write, it deletes everything prior to it. So if you want to add stuff, you do A for append. Okay, so write, this is the write command. And then at the end, like when you open the file, you always have to close the file at the end. Okay, so that's like what I'm going to teach you for now with Python. We're going to go into one other module. I just want to do like some explanation first, so you understand stuff. So we can go like into, there's all this stuff like in like terms of Python, you can see all this stuff. You can get like into like all the details and stuff, but I think this is a good place, to like keep you, if you want to get into more of the syntax, you can do it. And I say that because when I was first learning how to code, when I was back in high school, like I don't know how long ago, a very long time, I was like learning all the syntax stuff, and then I was finding like, wait, I want to do like apps, I want to build websites, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, what does this have to do with any of that? So, so I wasted all this time learning the syntax instead of getting into, building stuff. And that's ultimately the goal of programming, building stuff. So this last part, I want to talk about modules, and I am stealing code. What? So up here, if you like go on GitHub, coding is pretty community based, so you can like NASA or I'm just gonna type in space, all GitHub. So if you have like a GitHub account, there's like all this stuff like out here. Space API, and open source, and you can use other people's code, and like get help and stuff. And, like people have all their code published, so you can use other people's code and stuff. And that's kind of what I did here with this modules thing. I just want to show you this because this is cool. I stole it from this YouTube video. So if please check them out if you want to watch the whole thing and how to like code it and stuff. But I just want to like show you it because like there's so much stuff out there, and this is like what I want you guys to be able to do in the future. I want you guys to be able to build your own apps. Now, if we run modules, again, modules, like you're importing other people's code. So import, this is like a library that they're using. Imports, other people wrote this this program, this turtle, this program and stuff, and we're piggybacking off that so we can like add that. So I'm going to run this really quick, and please work. There we go. So like they built Pong. Yeah. So this was like really cool. When I was a kid, I was like, whoa, you can build video games and stuff. So this is the plan for the future. We're going to work on like AI and like web stuff and stuff. For now, make sure you understand the basic concepts, get the code, play around with it, and I hope you liked the video. If you have any thoughts, any ways I can improve, just comment below. Anyway, I hope you learned a ton. If you can, check out these guys' videos on how to do Pong because it's really cool. And best of luck to you in the future. We're going to get into like AI stuff and like other things soon.